Timna, chapter 22. Sounds of the work on the great heavy covering of the ark filled the air day after day. Each section of the covering had to be unfastened and lowered over the sides of the ark with heavy ropes. On the final day, the women gazed in wonder as the full sight of the mountains and sky above was uncovered. Light poured in along with the breezes. Timna tucked her head covering tighter to keep it from blowing off. All of them wore head coverings now, as well as the warmly padded robes they had made. "So much fresh air, and it smells so clean," she said. "Yes," Mother Abigail agreed. "And now that the animals are awake, I think we will all be glad for fresh air." She laughed and tucked her hands into her long sleeves. "It will be hard enough to give them fresh straw. Shem says once will be enough to last until we set them free. The feed and water troughs are large and will do until then." Timna still felt the heavy lifting and pouring of feed and water, the pitching of straw they had done from morning until late afternoon. Her arms and back ached. "At least we will not have to repeat yesterday," she said with a sigh of relief. Mother Abigail looked at her with compassion in her eyes. "Child, I'm afraid that is just what we must do, though not the same stalls. The rest of the animals are awake now. The men will take their side of the next level, and we women will take the other. This morning early I made a great pot of lentil stew and set the dough out ready for bread. There is tea for all and raisin cakes and figs and dates to carry us through the day." "Oh, Mother Abigail, how early you must have risen while we slept. You put me to shame. I feel I could tackle the lion's room right now." "We will leave that room to the men," Abigail said and chuckled. "But the smaller rooms will be our work, and we women can handle that just fine." Zeruiah and Mehetabel walked back to the storage rooms to begin preparations. "I'm glad we don't have to go into that large cat room," Zeruiah said. "On the other hand, I wish we could see them again." Timna laughed. "I'm sure we will see them all again. I know I want to be right there watching them leave the ark. Shem thinks we women should stay inside while they loose the animals. But he didn't say anything about the roof. With the cover off, we could sit on the wide rim and watch from there." "Do you think we could?" Mehetabel said in awe. "I mean, get up on the roof?" Timna stood for a moment with her hands on her hips. "We will, I promise you, Mehetabel, all of us. At least we don't need to do the cattle or the bulls or the goats or the sheep or the chickens or the birds," Timna said. "We've been caring for them right all along, and they won't need anything for a while." Mother Abigail had come in to help them. Like their own, her skirts were tucked up enough to keep them dry. "Are you ready, girls? Here is our plan," she said. In her hand, she held a small scroll with the list Shem had made for them. A tingle of pride went through Timna. Her husband was a good man with many skills, a fine shepherd, and she knew that together they could face whatever was ahead. "Who ever dreamed," Timna said, "that we'd be caring for every kind of animal we've ever heard of and more we ever knew even existed?" She linked her arms with Zeruiah and Mehetabel. "But I'm ready if you are," she said with a laugh. In one of the rooms, a large creature called a sloth, one Timna knew about but had never seen, hung upside down from its perch. Not far away, its mate, also upside down, slowly raised her head to look at Timna and Zeruiah. "They are the slowest of all animals," Japheth says. Zeruiah whispered, "It will probably take them half the day to reach over here for their food." Timna stared at the soft-furred creatures with their giant toes gripping their perch. But there was no time for staring. "They have all day, but we won't," she reminded herself. It seemed to Timna as she dragged herself to the evening meal that they had been working for days, not just one long, long day. Mehetabel served the bread, and all of them ate with barely a word. Abigail broke the silence with the question that Timna had forgotten she wanted to ask. "Now that the covering is off and you can see the ground, husband, how soon may we leave the ark?" Noah looked around his family before he answered. "You have all done well today, and tomorrow we must continue until all the animals have been tended. Perhaps by the week's end we may finish." Timna's heart sank. Could she go on that long, working so hard? Her arms felt wooden. "It may take a month, even a week or two after that, before the ground is dry enough to leave the ark," Noah said. Astonishing Timna. "But if the waters are gone and we can see that the face of the earth is dry, why must we wait so long, Father Noah?" Timna blushed as she realized she was questioning her father-in-law's judgment. "Well, child, not very many days ago the ground was covered with pools of water. They are gone now, but it will take time for the sun and wind to dry the earth. Our dove, light of foot and winged, found herself a home, But can you imagine all those animals you've been tending and those just the smaller ones? Think of them thundering down the gangplank onto the earth. They would soon be churning the wet ground into great thick mud. And add to them all the hundreds and hundreds above the ark, some of them heavy and of great size. Think what would happen as they too turned the ground beneath them into huge pits of mud. We would have no end of trouble and loss among them. In her longing to be off the ark, Timna had never thought of those things. You are right, Father Noah, she said, and I will be patient. He laughed along with Shem and the others. Timna wasn't known for her patience. I know that you will try, Noah said, and now we need our beds. Tomorrow will be another busy day for all of us. Timna dreamed of feeding animals, especially great sloths who took forever to come for their food. In the corner near the cooking fire, Thief settled deep into his share of the blanket bed. He too had worked hard all day, standing guard at the gates of the animal rooms as the men worked inside them. Not one animal had come past him, not even tried. Only once had he barked, and that was at the snake room. As Shem entered the room, Thief had made plain to the snake that he was on guard.